And breaking details coming in. Inside scoop of what can take place in Venezuela after President Maduro's capture. Sources say Delcy Rodriguez can be made the interim president with the elections to take place in the next 30 days. The other possibility is that senior figures of the present establishment could resign, defect or flee, paving the way for opposition leader Edmundo Gonzalez to become president. And final possibility, that is that military might take over Venezuela. After Maduro's capture, three options that Venezuela is really staring at, considering to what their next move will be. This as they're still assessing the extent of damage. They're still trying to gather what the next steps would be when it comes to regime change, or whether it would be any sort of escalation from their side. While the US has said that the military action has been taken and there would be no further move to that effect. We're also getting details of how Maduro will now face action. He'll face the law in the United States. Criminal charge that has been pressed against him. But in the meanwhile, Venezuela now eyeing three options. Delcy Rodriguez, who can be made interim president and the elections can take place in the next 30 days. Senior figures of the present establishment who could resign, defect or flee, paving the way for opposition leader Edmundo Gonzalez. And final possibility that the military may take over. Going back to my colleague Rohit Sharma to get further details of which possibility are they weighing the most?
Hi, Suyesha. So I think, we do not know at this point, right? We've heard from Defense Minister Vladimir Lopez. We've also heard from Delcy Rodriguez, who essentially should be the president if they've invoked Article 233. I mean, it's Saturday morning in Venezuela, so we'll have to wait and watch. But if they do invoke Article 233, I think Delcy Rodriguez would become the interim president, and then elections should be held in Venezuela in the next 30 days. Now, we'll have to wait and watch if that happens or not. I think one telling thing would be what we've been talking about would be President Trump's press conference at Mar-a-Lago at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, Indian time for you guys, 11 a.m. for myself on the East Coast. But then that would be a telling thing as to where America would want it to happen. Now, it would also indicate infighting if there's going to be a dictatorship with Vladimir Lopez taking over. He's the defense minister, so he might want to do that, or the U.S. wanting Corina Machado as the leader, and how would that happen? So they could probably force for the election. So we'll have to wait and watch. But I think as of this point in time, we do not know who's clearly leading Venezuela. There hasn't been any news about invoking of Article 233, which would make Delcy Rodriguez as the acting or interim president of Venezuela. But these are the three possibilities. Could be Delcy Rodriguez becoming the president, or elections and Machado taking over the reins from Delcy Rodriguez and from Maduro, or possibly a military takeover. And I think America would want one of these. I think they would welcome to all three of these, as long as the elected leader or the leader in power, could be a dictator, is aligned with what U.S. wants to achieve. So we'll have to wait and watch. And I think a telling sign would be after President Trump finishes his presser at 11 o'clock Eastern in Florida.
And that's in about 3.5 hours from now. But a lot of pressure on that front on Trump, Rohit, as we would agree, because this is being seen as a massive escalation by the US, given the fact that there is instability due to rising prices. Russian oil is banned. Venezuela, that is a huge producer of oil. The motive behind these strikes that are being read into, is this only drug trafficking, or is the US eyeing oil in Venezuela?
Well, so that has been, one of the talking points in the last 2 decades, right? About making sure Venezuela is stable. They have the largest oil. America obviously has been investing a lot. I mean, as we all know, I think the entire world is going after energy, especially in this new age about AI. So there could be a reason why America would want a familiar face in Venezuela, somebody who aligns with U.S. values. Yes, oil is a very important piece to that. So we could see that, America could possibly have direct or indirect control of oil in Venezuela. Now, America would also want to have a Venezuela that is aligned more with the U.S. policies. So it helps them there. I mean, it obviously reshapes, this change reshapes the politics, especially Latin American politics. And we'll have to also wait and watch on how other nations react, including Brazil, Colombia. And then there's the outstanding question of Cuba. Now, we've also seen Marco Rubio make some interesting statements about Cuba in the past, too. So we'll have to wait and watch what America decides to do next. But I think they've sent a big, strong message by taking this action. And I think the next 72 hours, we'll probably know if Venezuela goes through a constitutional reset, maybe a democratic transition, as possibly UN if gets involved, maybe, or a power struggle with America then picking the winner as to who they want installed in Venezuela as the leader. So we'll have to wait and watch. But yes, oil is definitely number one. And I think number two, as President Trump has multiple times said, he wants to ensure that the Western Hemisphere is safe and secure from the Chinese influence as well as the Russian influence. And I think by having somebody in Venezuela does that, I think once they have that, then I think the next target would be Cuba. And we'll have to wait and watch on that, Suyesha.
Rohit, I request you to stay on with us.